So, Joe, we just talked about talent development, and then how do we move into a more specific area that is often discussed? I see it all over LinkedIn. I see articles after article on leadership development because
Mhm.
that's a whole other skill from being an independent or individual contributor to when
Yeah.
you become a people manager, a leader, and you have to develop yourself and then you have to be there for your team and help develop them. So, how do you develop those leaders and what's your take on leadership development versus general talent development?
Mhm. Uh, Another great question and something that um, maybe I might struggle a little bit to answer this in a concise way. So keep me keep me honest and keep me on point. But one of the things that first comes to mind is the definition of leader. So again, I would encourage individuals and organizations to think about leadership a bit more broadly than maybe do you formally have direct reports? Like certainly that makes for a leader, in the traditional sense, but there's so many roles in today's workforce where leadership is implied. So project managers, right? You're leading through influence all the time. You're not necessarily doing a lot of the work or following through on the tasks, but you're inspiring and influencing a really diverse group of people to try and row that boat in the same direction, right? And so the first thing I would just sort of stop and think about is, um, does it make sense to only include formal people leaders in that scope of leadership development? I've worked at organizations that have a broader definition to what is a leader, and they'll engage and encourage folks to participate in that kind of development or programming if they're aspiring leaders or if they lead through influence, right?
That's really interesting, and a really interesting perspective. And I like the project management example there because I
Yeah.
can totally see that aligning. I'm like, oh yeah, you know what? A leadership development program would be so beneficial for
Mhm.
a project manager, even if they might not have direct reports.
Absolutely. Absolutely.